The second shocking thing that's unique to Ibn Abdul Wahhab and distinguishes him from Ibn Taymiyyah and other Hanbali scholars is how he declared that the people of the entire Muslim world, including Mecca, Medina, Egypt, Iraq, and Syria, had become kafir mushriks. Why had they become kafir mushriks? Because they didn't understand Tawheed as Ibn Abdul Wahhab had defined it. Again, compare this to Ibn Taymiyyah. Nowhere does Ibn Taymiyyah make such sweeping statements condemning entire Muslim regions for being mushrik. Many of Ibn Abdul Wahhab's contemporaries criticized him for mass takfiring Muslims, basically claiming the Muslim masses had apostatized from the religion. For example, his own brother, a Hanbali scholar in his own right, Sulaiman ibn Abdul Wahhab, who we'll discuss in more depth later, said of his brother, "The fact is that you have taken this understanding of yours and opposed the consensus and declared the Ummah of Muhammad in totality to be disbelievers." The great Hanafi jurist Ibn Abidin was another contemporary of Ibn Abdul Wahhab. Ibn Abidin has a very interesting comment comparing Ibn Abdul Wahhab to the Khawarij in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. He says, "The Khawarij takfir the companions of our Prophet ﷺ. This is similar to what occurred in our time with the followers of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, who emerged from Najd, took control of Mecca and Medina, and claimed to follow the Hanbali school of thought. However, they believed that they alone were the true Muslims and that anyone who disagreed with their beliefs was a polytheist, mushrik. Based on this belief, they deemed it permissible to kill Ahl Sunnah and their scholars until Allah Almighty broke their strength, destroyed their lands, and the Muslim armies defeated them in the year 1818. So Ibn Abidin also claims that Ibn Abdul Wahhab had declared the entire Ummah as mushriks and believed their blood to be halal. Now, maybe these critics of Ibn Abdul Wahhab had a grudge against him and they exaggerated, but let's look at what Ibn Abdul Wahhab says himself. "You have also heard the polytheists say, 'Shirk is the worship of idols, but not the worship of the righteous.' And you've heard their claim, 'We seek only from Allah, but we use their status as intermediaries.' You've also heard what Allah has mentioned in response to all this. Allah has blessed you with the acknowledgement of the scholars of the polytheists, i.e. scholars of the apparent Muslims, regarding all of this. You've heard their admission that the practices taking place in Mecca and Medina, Basra, Iraq, and Yemen are acts of shirk, i.e. associating with Allah. They have admitted to you that the religion whose people they support and who they claim are the great majority, they have admitted to you that their religion, i.e. that of apparent Muslims, is in fact shirk. They have also admitted to you that the Tawheed they strive to extinguish and strive to kill and imprison its adherents is the religion of Allah and His Messenger. Wow. It's insane what he's saying here. Ibn Abdul Wahhab says here explicitly that in Mecca and Medina, in Basra, in Yemen and elsewhere, these Muslims claim to be practicing Islam, but actually they're practicing a completely different religion, and it's the religion of shirk. Focus on this sentence. They have admitted to you that the religion whose people they support and who they claim are the great majority, they have admitted to you that their religion, i.e. that of apparent Muslims, is in fact shirk. He says explicitly that the religion of the great majority of the people in these regions is, by their own admission, shirk. They're all just a bunch of mushrik pagans pretending to be Muslims. Furthermore, he depicts these Muslim regions as trying to destroy Tawheed and kill the followers of his Tawheed in order to extinguish Islam. This is an absolutely insane depiction of the Muslim masses. There's nothing like this from Imam Ahmad or Ibn Taymiyyah or even later Salafi scholars like Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen or Sheikh Al-Albani. Ibn Abdul Wahhab is totally unique in this hyper-takfir of the world's Muslims and portraying them as evil enemies of Islam simply because they don't follow his understanding of Tawheed. Ibn Abdul Wahhab also declared that the vast majority of Syrian Muslims are kafir mushriks who worship the scholar Ibn Arabi. He says, and their leader is Ibn Arabi. Do they think that the Syrians do not say there is no God but Allah? But he came from Syria, where they worship Ibn Arabi, placing an idol on his grave that they worship. I don't mean all the people of Syria, far be it from me to claim that. Rather, there will always remain a group upon the truth, even if they're few and become strangers. Well, thank God he doesn't takfir all of Syria, just most of Syria. Only a handful of Muslims in Syria. Everyone else is a kafir mushrik. For those of you keeping score, so far Ibn Abdul Wahhab has mass takfired all of Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Mecca, Medina. Well, what about Najd, his own region? Are they Muslims at least? It is known regarding the people of our land, meaning Najd, and the land of all of Hijaz, that those who reject the resurrection are more than those who believe in it, and those who do not know the religion are more than those who know it, and those who do not pray are more than those who pray, and those who refuse to pay zakat are more than those who pay it. Guess not. He says even in Najd, not to mention Hijaz, most people reject the resurrection. Obviously, rejecting the resurrection and therefore the afterlife is rejecting a pillar of Iman. So he's mass takfiring even the Muslims of his own region. At this point, an easier question to ask is, who hasn't Ibn Abdul Wahhab takfired? As we saw, the answer is just himself, because as he said, only he understands the meaning of La ilaha illallah. This is why it's easy to see how Ibn Abdul Wahhab had the gall to willy-nilly throw the entire ummah outside of Islam.